Hey yo, what is up? Object 261 version 4 is in super test on the RU server. What is it? It is an assault artillery. Yes, assault artillery. Now, ever since wargaming broke up in EU, they must have kidnapped the entire dev team and brought them over to Mother Russia, because ever since then they have introduced a whole new branch of tanks, flamethrower tech tree, and now they are pushing ahead with an assault artillery tech tree. Yes, assault artillery, as if artillery isn't bad enough already. Now they're going to assault you and they're gonna shoot you in the face. Now basically what it boils down to is these artillery are close range artillery. They need to be really close by in order to shoot you. So basically they're going to be sitting right behind the heavy tanks, using terrain, buildings, rubble to hide their positions and then shoot at you. They are also heavily armored, so they can bounce off your heat shells or whatever shells you throw at them. They have thick frontal armor and they have thick sloped frontal armor. Now, whether you like artillery or not, you despise them, you can say whatever you want about them, but the Russian dev team have been very creative, coming up with new material for World of Tanks. They've got this flamethrower branch basically that works exactly just like this tank, just like the assault artillery. You have to be close, you have to be, shooting over you with an arc, and it's basically new tank, new tech tree, new way of playing World of Tanks. And say what you like about artillery or the new flamethrower branch, they are pretty creative and they are moving forward with the game, with or without us. Now, the reason why I'm showing you this tank today is because who knows what's gonna happen with the game. Wargaming might still be sharing information and technologies with Leicester or the RU management team, and they could be selling each other stuff, selling each other game mechanics, new materials. They could be sharing these new tanks with each other in the future, and who knows, we could have them in the game, because it's already in. We're playing the same game basically. They just have a little more toys than we do. So who knows, maybe in the future we're gonna have this added into our game files and made available to the rest of the world as well. But we don't know how what's gonna happen in the future. We know that a lot of people don't like artillery gameplay, or they don't like being shot by artillery, which is a fair point, and we'll see how it goes. But let's talk a little bit about this tank. Basically, you have only one type of shell, which is HE shells, and you have to shoot from very close distances, and there is no splash damage. So basically, you need to land your shots spot on in order to do any damage. And because it only has 52 millimeters of penetration, you're not going to do much damage if you land your shots on the frontal armor of a tank or a mantlet or the enemy gun barrel. You have to try and land your shots on the top of the tank, on the roof of the tank, on the engine deck. That's where you're gonna get your 600 average damage. That's right, 600 average damage. Now I'm showing you a lot of shots that did pen, that did do 600 plus damage, but there were a lot of shots that did not cut it as well, especially if you land at the front of the tank. Most tanks, heavy tanks, have frontal armor that are pretty good, and when you land on it, you don't really do any damage on it. Basically, this tank 1500 hit points with 1200 horsepower engine. It has pretty good power to weight ratio, 18.46 with 45 kilometers an hour top speed and 12 kilometers in reverse. The rotation speed is pretty slow, however, 17.73 degrees per second. This means rotating the tank is pretty poor. If you're being circled strafed by medium tanks or light tanks, you're basically dead because you can't rotate fast enough to fire at them. But yeah, you still have pretty good power to weight ratio going forward and going in reverse. Basically, you can keep up with all the heavy tanks and medium tanks going to the front lines and fighting your enemies there. Not a problem going forwards. Switching locations, getting to new positions, not a problem at all. It's just that turning your tank it kind of sucks. The reload is also pretty slow, 30.58, but remember, you can use a rammer, take 10% of that. Probably with BIA food, you can get it down to about 25 seconds reload time, and that's that's pretty good. As a matter of fact, if you look at our friend here, his reload time is 20 seconds. I'm assuming you have all the skills. You have food, you have BIA, you have a purple rammer, and that would work in your favor to get it down to 20 seconds reload. That's pretty quick reload. Dispersion is horrendous, 2.88. Aim time is 4.03 seconds. This means you need to spend a lot of time aiming. Make sure you are fully aimed before you pull the trigger, because any slight deviation would mean that you missed your shot. And if you miss your shot, remember, this is the HE without any splash damage. So if you miss your shot completely, you're gonna do 0 damage. So you're gonna see a lot of players try to make their shots count, which means they're not going to be relying on splash damage. They're going to be relying on fully aimed shots. So this is one of the ways they're trying to handicap this tank. But as you can tell from how good this tank is, I don't think they're going to end up loading this tank into the live server the way it stands, because I think it's a little bit too strong at the moment. Maybe they might make the dispersion even worse. They might make the reload even worse. We'll see. It is kind of too early to tell exactly what they're gonna do with balancing out this tank, but this tank, in the positions that it can get into in the front line, it is making safe tanks unsafe, safe positions unsafe. So I can't see how people are going to accept this tank. I don't know about the RU server, maybe they like it, but I don't see how the Western world, I don't see how EU, NA or Asia would accept a tank like this with this kind of mechanics, with the amount of firepower, 600 plus damage, plus 25% RNG. Imagine how much you can roll, 750, 770 rolls that you can get out of this tank. I just think it's going to be completely unfair. But what do you think? How do you feel about this new branch of artilleries that they plan to introduce on the RU server? And by all accounts and the way history works, these kinds of tanks will probably end up for the rest of us as well, and if they do, I will not be surprised at all, because that's just how it works, right? They are the same game, and there is no reason why the same game would not have the same tanks to compete in. So anyway, that is my video for you guys. Thought I'd show you what I just discovered yesterday, the Object 261 version 4 on the RU server. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.